Hello, this is Marian, and welcome back to the English Grammar course. Today, we will be reviewing the zero conditional, or the topic of our last lesson, then move on to the first conditional. A quick refresher on conditional tenses. We use the conjunction if in conditional sentences to describe possible situations or events. We indicate the possible result or consequences of a particular action, either in the past, present, or future. The if clause tells you the condition, and the main clause tells you the result. Now we use the zero conditional to express permanent truths or facts. Your skin burns in the sun if you don't wear sunscreen. We also use it to express general habits. When I'm sad, I buy flowers for my house. The zero conditional is composed of two clauses. The if or subordinating clause that uses the present simple, and the main clause which also has a main verb in the present simple tense. Plants die if they don't have sun. If they don't have sun, plants die. You can switch the order of the clauses without changing its meaning, but you must pay attention to punctuation when you're doing so. Add a comma after a subordinating clause if it is at the beginning of a sentence. Otherwise, do not use a comma. If the subordinating clause is at the beginning of the sentence, add a comma after it. We can use the subordinating conjunction when instead of if, and the sentence will keep its meaning. When I go on holiday, I ask my parents to take care of my cat. With the conjunction when, we can also change the order of the clauses without impacting its meaning. I ask my parents to take care of my cat when I go on holiday. We can also use the zero conditional with the imperative in the main clause. We do this to give orders. For example, if you break the glass, clean it up. All right, time for a round of practice and review. Fill in the gaps with the correct verb or word from the box. When he wakes up early, he does more work. If people don't return books, the librarian gets mad. The neighbor shouts if you make too much noise. Eat less if you want to lose weight. She likes to eat popcorn when she watches a movie. If you touch a fire, you get burned. When babies are hungry, they cry. Great work! Now we can move on to the first conditional. If the zero conditional talks about general facts and truths, the first conditional refers to future situations that we believe are really possible. For example, France will win the World Cup if they keep playing this well. When I get my paycheck, I'll buy new shoes. The first conditional is formed of two clauses, the if or subordinating clause, which we use with the present simple, and the main clause, which we use with the auxiliary will or won't, plus the infinitive form of the main verb. For example, if I win the lottery, I'll buy a big house. If I win the lottery is the subordinating clause. It is at the beginning of the sentence, therefore we follow it with a comma. And we use the present simple form of the verb win. I'll buy a big house is the main clause. Therefore we use the auxiliary verb will with the infinitive form of the main verb to buy. Remember, the order of the clauses is interchangeable. This means that it does not matter in which order they are. The only difference is the use of punctuation. If the if clause or subordinating clause is at the beginning of the sentence, use a comma after it. For example, if it rains tomorrow, I'll watch a movie. If the main clause comes before the subordinating clause, then you don't need a comma. I'll watch a movie tomorrow if it rains. With the first conditional, we can also replace the conjunction if or when with other words or phrases like unless, as long as, in case. For example, I'll stay with you as long as you don't start crying again. I don't want to move back home unless I run out of money. The same rules of punctuation apply to these clauses. And you can also switch the order of the two clauses. Incorrect usage of punctuation is one of the biggest mistakes made by both native and non-native speakers when writing in English. So let's do a quick practice. Which sentence is correct? I'll eat a snack if I have time. The second sentence is correct. The subordinating clause is at the end of the sentence. Therefore, we do not need a comma. She'll leave as soon as the babysitter gets here. The first sentence is correct. As long as you're back by midnight, I'll let you go to the party. The second sentence is correct. The subordinating clause, as long as you're back by midnight, is placed before the main clause. Therefore, we need a comma. Unless you start working harder, I won't let you go shopping with your friends. The first sentence is correct. The comma must be placed at the end of the subordinating clause. We'll go to the mall when you come visit. The first sentence is correct. He'll never find a girlfriend unless he starts dating. The first sentence is correct. Great work! Now, can you practice using the first conditional with this multiple choice question? We'll be late for dinner if we don't hurry up. You won't succeed unless you try. The construction will be delayed if they don't get the permits on time. I'll meet her for coffee as soon as I have the time. Will you call me if you're late? Remember, we must always place the first auxiliary verb before the subject in the question. The children won't fall asleep if you make so much noise. In the subordinating clause, we use the present simple tense. We won't be able to play tennis if it keeps raining so much. We'll be late to the movies unless you hurry up. All right, great work. Now, before moving on to our task-based activity, let's take a closer look at the differences between the zero and first conditional. Compare these two sentences. If you don't wait for your coffee to cool down, you burn your tongue. If you don't wait for your coffee to cool down, you'll burn your tongue. Both sentences have very similar meanings. The first example is the zero conditional and expresses a general truth. The speaker is referring to any time a person drinks coffee too quickly and is not indicating a person in particular. In the second example, which is in the first conditional, the speaker is indicating a particular situation, one which is happening now, in which someone might actually burn their tongue in the close future. Great! Now we can move on to our task-based activity. We will read and analyze a passage from the book, I Will Be the Best Me I Can Be. Let's start by reading. Take a car, for instance. If you drive it without getting maintenance done, things will start to go wrong. Eventually, it won't run properly, and it will stand outside, and as time goes on, it will just become the carcass of a car. Exactly the same principle applies to our minds and bodies. If we don't apply order to them, they start to deteriorate and stop functioning. Because the deterioration may stretch over a long period of time, we can deceive ourselves that it won't come, but it will come, like a bad tooth if you don't regularly attend to your teeth. Fortunately, we can overcome this by getting organized and developing a goal-oriented master plan and a master schedule. Here are a few tactics that I applied to my life to experience positive results over the years. If you follow these, I can assure you that you will become more organized and your life will feel more fulfilled. All right, now you have 3 minutes to identify all the uses of the first conditional. Let's go. All right, time's up. In this text, we had 3 instances of the first conditional. If you drive it without getting maintenance done, things will start to go wrong. But it will come like a bad tooth if you don't regularly attend to your teeth. If you follow these, I can assure you that you will become more organized and your life will feel more fulfilled. I also thought it important to point out the use of the zero conditional in this text. If we don't apply order to them, they start to deteriorate and stop functioning. Here, the if clause and the main clause are both in the present simple tense, unlike the first conditional, which use the auxiliary verb will with the infinitive. Great work! Now we can review. We use the first conditional to talk about things that might happen in the future based on certain conditions. If I have enough money, I'll order food tonight. The first conditional is comprised of two clauses, the if or subordinating clause, which uses the present simple tense, and the main clause, which uses the auxiliary will or won't plus the infinitive. If they are rude to me again, I'll never go back to that restaurant. We can change the order of the clauses without changing the meaning of the sentence. Just remember to use a comma if the if clause is at the beginning. I'll say hello if I see her. If I see her, I'll say hello. With the first conditional, we can also replace the conjunction if or when with other words or phrases like unless, as long as, and in case. I'll give you the money in case I'm home too late to order dinner myself. Fantastic! We are finished with yet another lesson of Chapter 2 of this grammar course. Next up, the second conditional. See you then!